Get in, loser. We're doing medical stuff.
Thanks to our sponsor, Durkin Tactical, your AR-15 superstore. You can find out more at durkintactical.com. Thanks again to Winchester for providing the ammo used in this video. New to 2022 is the Winchester 30-round clip pack, featuring 30 rounds of M855 preloaded onto stripper clips with a loading spoon included for your convenience. It makes loading 5.56 magazines fast and easy. You can find out more at winchester.com.
Hello friends, thanks for watching another ARFCOM thing. If you're watching this video, there's a real good chance you carry a gun all the time. But Lord willing, you'll probably never have to use it, and I hope you don't. But there were 48,000 motor vehicle related deaths last year. And that means you have a real good chance of actually needing your emergency medical kit. If you do need it, can you get to it? Where do you keep it in your vehicle? I did a boo-boo. Where is my medical?
Welcome to reality! You're in a car wreck! Your left femoral artery's bleeding! Hurry up, you're dying! Let's go! Let's go! Where is your shit? What are you doing? You're dying!
It was
Let's
right
go!
I put it right.
Wake up!
It was here.
Wake up!
It was just.
Oh, it's not there now!
I wish I could wake up.
Let's go!
I don't want to go to school.
Lay down, you're dead!
I don't want to go
You're
to
dead!
school. I'm tired. All right, guys. So obviously I was an oozing puddle of Charlie Fox just now. That's for training purposes. Of course I'm an idiot on my own. I don't need any help. But I'm not normally quite that bad. There's a reason we did that, right? A lot of people are like, hey, I have a medical kit. It's got Band-Aids and Tylenol in it, and I keep it under my seat, and that will totally save lives in a motor vehicle collision, right?
Totally. That's totally how that works. You know, the unfortunate part is we are much more likely to be in a car wreck. In fact, I've been in several, you've probably been in several, and mine were outside of law enforcement. So it's like, it's not just the job that caused it. And so most of us, this is the environment where we're more likely to be using this medical stuff. So where we put it, how we put it,
on my plate carrier at home.
Totally. Yeah, your plate carrier is going to save your life in this right here. I mean, this neon orange. This is the most tactical thing we could find, so that plate carrier matches. You know, right? I mean, check out.
And I mean, best case scenario, if you're one of those guys that's like, yeah, I got an IFAK on my plate carrier. Best case, maybe that was in the trunk.
Yes, and that's the problem. If I get impinged in this vehicle, you know, let's say that you were in here, the door gets crushed, and you are now shoved forward into the dash halfway, you're not getting to the trunk, are you? So
I'm
what
not
you
getting
have
under my seat.
Exactly, you're not getting under your seat. You may not even get to your pocket. So how we have things in the car is a big deal. So we need it within reach. So first thing, again, based on time, my limbs in a car wreck are extremely likely to be damaged, mainly your femoral. So your femur and your femoral artery are the problem here. If you get in a wreck, because of the positioning, whether you're ejected or not, this bone is more likely to break than most other times in your life. So we need this to be ready to go. Having it on the visor is just easy and out of the way. And it's within reach from either side. So let's say that you go unconscious, you're with your spouse, they're in the passenger seat. They can reach that where you were. It doesn't really matter if it's on this side or the other. So first thing first, tourniquet. It's also got to be relatively staged. That wad of stuff that I about lost my mind of yesterday, we can't have it in here like that. When you need it right now.
But, and staging it isn't even necessary. I mean, of course it needs to be staged, but if your leg is caught, pinned, your arm, whatever, is stuck in parts of the metal, you can't slip it over the end.
Exactly. So the big thing I'm mentioning with staging is I need it to not be this.
Right.
We're still in the plastic like we've already seen, right? This
Somebody had to deal with that the other day.
Somebody did. You know, if it happens today, I might actually shoot him. So this right here, this is exactly the direction you're gonna have to go because if you're impinged in the vehicle, you're gonna have to go under the leg. So this is the staging point you're gonna get to anyway. So then you'll have to run it underneath, which takes practice, which gets us back to training. We consistently see when we do vehicle scenarios in refuge training courses that this is where people struggle because they've been using tourniquets up to that point outside. In a vehicle, everything is different, especially if you can't even do what we're doing now. If we can't even hang our legs out, this is extremely awkward.
Right?
much less if the steering wheel is blowing an airbag towards you, you got stuff in the way.
Can't turn that windlass
Come on, you got
very
it,
easily
you got
because
it.
that steering wheel.
Yep, the pocket's in the way. Anything we may have had in our pants may be hard to remove, and you have to get it out of the way. What do you think? Is it working?
Not yet.
Oh man, that's
like
a
that
lot
pain.
of turns.
I like that pain. Oh. It's getting slippery with the sweat.
Takes practice. Come on, you got it. Get it on, get it on.
There it is.
Go. Tighter than you think it should be. Let's go, hurry up, you're dying. Let's go, let's go. Focus and breathe. Good. Time tab, get that thing across once you get it. Come on.
Oh, I want one more turn.
Man. I think we're emphasizing this is not a skill you just get one day.
I'm gonna check for that pulse first.
Don't worry, it'll go numb in a minute. That was so many turns, I'm willing to bet it's working.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think so.
Now, can you imagine?
Am I gonna live?
Can you imagine? Well, that's remaining to be seen. Can you imagine if your spouse is in the vehicle injured too?
Yeah.
Right?
We'll need another one, huh?
We're gonna need more stuff, so that gets us to the next piece. So once we've rendered aid to ourselves, we've bought ourselves time, we've delayed our own death, then we can get to the next thing. Where's the next kit in the car? So we got two options for us. There you go. Just leave that on a minute, you'll live. So for us, we've got a full bear fac on the back of the headrest. You can pull on it, slide it out. The insert, you can just take with you. It's got a carry handle. There you go. Excellent. Now, the bear fac benefits that it covers the entirety of the march algorithm. So it's got gauze, it's got trauma bandages, it's got tape. It's gonna have an emergency blanket if someone gets to that point of blood loss where they're getting hypothermic, right? You've got a whole lot of capability, an additional tourniquet, nasal airway. It covers all of the march algorithm. So we've bought you time, but then maybe you have someone else. Maybe your kids are in the vehicle with you that you have to help. This is a good option. But we had to get to the back of the vehicle. So to me, this really benefits either the passenger or someone in the back seat.
If I wanted to get to a kit for my own use from the driver's seat, I think I would probably want it on the passenger headrest.
Okay.
Because
So you
it would
can reach it, right?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Or what about the console? Have a seat. Come on, Captain Morgan, you got it. Let's go.
So I got this handy dandy son of a bitch right here. Oh, SOB doesn't stand for that, does it?
No, it does not. Small the back.
Because you would normally keep this on the back of a war belt or
something like that. A plate carrier, yes, it was designed for small to back for 3-gun shooters. Those guys got in touch with us, and this is what we came up with for
a
them.
little TQ on the bottom there.
That's right, which should never live in the plastic ever again, correct?
Correct.
There you go.
That wasn't. Why are you saying that like I decided
I'm
to do
making
that?
sure, because we can't have these
I wasn't the one that decided to
tourniquets.
put a brand new TQ in the plastic on the table and then shoot me.
But you didn't bring your own.
It's like you're reversing the.
But
I
you
did
didn't
bring my own.
You didn't have your own.
So we got a chest seal. We got some gauze.
Yep, trauma bandages, quick clot, gloves.
Gloves.
Nasal airway should be in between the chest seals. So this covers the majority of the march algorithm. You're missing a few components, like there's no hypothermic issue related item here, so we don't have a foil blanket for you. Something like that. So there's pieces that are in the bare fact. There's also more capability, more gauze. But man, if we needed to take something with us, let's say we've got to go render aid, we've got a smash kit in the floorboard there. This has got a lot of capability. You're good, right? You're not falling, right? Isn't it amazing what you can move with? So just because you're injured doesn't mean that the game's over, right? Might be somebody else.
Oh, there's body parts everywhere.
Oh Lord, we got all kinds of good stuff in here. So the smash
coroner
kit.
looks at me and says, "Dear God, what is this mess?"
Put that circle on
No
the
guy's puking his guts out in the back.
hood. Toss it on the hood for us and see what's going on. So the hard case of this is a big benefit because wrecks tend to be damaging, right?
C-spine injuries.
Exactly. And the hard case is going to keep all the materials in one spot. It's waterproof. You can mount it to the top of a Jeep if you're going anywhere. We cover a lot more capability in this because of things like splinting options, neck immobilization, cold packs, and on top of that, we've got trauma-related things. So this is going to cover more stuff for you. And honestly, if I was going to be, doing ATV stuff out in the middle of nowhere, There's not a lot of rescue potential coming out here. You're on your own for a while. How long is purely up to the people that are coming. So it could be a while. We need more stuff on occasion. And I like the carryability of this. I also really like the durability. You know, when you get in a crash, stuff gets tossed around. You want to make sure that you have an item that's not going to be broken by the actual impact.
Indeed. That's a nice, tough Pelican case, I think.
It is. Yep. And you know something I think is interesting? We all think of IFACs, right? Individual first aid kits, like, cool, yeah, I've got my trauma kit and I'll take that to the person that's in that vehicle. No, that's for you.
Yeah.
That's your individual first aid kit. This kind of an item is where we get into, this is for someone else.
Yeah, you're not going to be putting a collar on yourself.
Probably not. You know, wouldn't that defeat the purpose? Let me immobilize my own neck by moving.
Right. Maybe not quite as unlikely, but also not that likely to have to apply a SAM splint to yourself, etc. One thing that we kind of brushed over, didn't quite mention yet, is when you're involved in a collision, there's this tendency, I've done it. I've seen a collision. There was a guy dumped his bike on a rural road in Arizona. Happened like a quarter mile ahead of me. So I saw a little dust and got a little closer, go, oh yeah, he's on the ground. Got out, ran halfway there, realized, well, what am I gonna do if he is injured? Had to run back to the vehicle, grab my kit, then. And had he been bleeding badly, I wasted 30 seconds of the 120 seconds that I got running back and forth.
That's right. So that's an important feature. We've got to take things when we go. The first time, don't bother going a second, a third time back and forth to the car, because that is time that we don't have. And when you only might have 2 minutes, and again, that's on the high end. When you might have 2 minutes, we don't have any seconds to waste, right? Just hobbling over here, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, maybe something like that. And we haven't even done anything.
Especially if I'm already injured and I'm not going to cover that distance very quickly.
Exactly. We also have to factor in reaction time, right? It takes at least a few seconds to actually start doing anything.
Oh, man.
So we're losing time.
It takes a few seconds to realize I've been in a collision.
It does. And I'm steadily yelling at you, and it still has this delay, right?
Yeah.
So in real life, that's a factor. We can't really lose time. So taking the stuff with you is a big deal, and having it with you. So we had a great example. There was a trauma nurse that came to one of our classes in Indy. And 3 days after the class, she had her blue trainer tourniquet, right? It's a real tourniquet, it's just blue.
Yeah.
And so she had that in her car with her trainer kit that she got from the Responder 1 class. You leave with a kit. And when she got on scene for a car wreck, as she's driving down the road, she's the first one there. She grabs that same tourniquet that she was training with 3 days before in our class and sees a guy with a femoral bleed in his leg. And she recognizes it as, oh my gosh, kind of bleeding, puts a tourniquet on him and saves his life. And EMS got there 6 minutes later. Ooh. He'd have died 3 times. He wouldn't have minded, right? We don't have time. You don't have time to waste. It's got to be with you. And when you're the first one, you're the first one. That means you're the actual first responder.
All right, so you guys sell on these kits on refugemedical.com.
We do.
I don't want this. I mean, I love what you guys do. I don't want all the videos that we do with you guys to just be a commercial.
No.
You guys may already have your own kits, or maybe you can't afford to buy all of the kit at once. You got to buy it piecemeal or something. I get it. You know, we're not here to sell you this stuff, although I think it is really good. This video is more about where you should place the kit and how you should respond to a motor vehicle collision in those first few seconds.
Exactly, and that's something that even our founder and CEO emphasizes, is that while we think we've got the best kits out there, and we really emphasize that, hey, we love our kits, we just want you to have a kit. We really want people to have equipment. And then more importantly, to your point, we want you to have it on you. We want you to have it nearby. So some kits you can put on your person, some items maybe, some kits you need in your vehicle, right? This is a transportation device for people and equipment, so we need to use that appropriately. So where we put things is a big deal. We want to make sure it's within reach without us having to get out of the car for certain, right? Because I'm not guaranteed to be able to get out of the car. So something either behind the headrest that you can rip off, pull, something like that, or already mounted to the visor, we talked about with tourniquets, that's my preferred spot for an in-car tourniquet, at least one. Because
So why not under the seat?
Because it snags. If you've ever gone looking for the random toy that your kid has lost under the seat, or you dropped a quarter or something, it takes a second to get the right angle to actually get items out. And then for my vehicle, for example, it's got the handle to actually move the seat back and forth at the front. It's a snag point.
Yep.
Not every vehicle's the same, but it's
And sometimes
guaranteed.
that handle is sort of a J that's
And
like
mine is.
designed to
Mine
hook
is.
onto
It's
things.
not a
Yep.
flat bar that goes all the way across. It is a J, and I guarantee I would snag it. So I knew officers when I was a cop that would keep something like an active shooter satchel under their seat that the strap of would snag every time they went to pull it out quickly. And that's the thing. Under de-stressed circumstances, you might not have to worry about it, but it's gonna be stressful when there's injured
point.
parties.
And you know, a lot of people like to keep their handgun under the seat because they don't want to drive with it on their hip or appendix. And, you know, I get it, it's uncomfortable, but if you need the handgun while you're in the car, there's a good chance that the reason you needed it is because there was a collision, maybe some road rage or whatever. And when there's a motor vehicle collision, the things that you put somewhere are not going to be there unless they're bolted down.
Exactly. So just like in an airplane, things have got to be secured in overhead compartments because they will move with turbulence, same kind of idea. So we have to have items secured. The SOB we had in the console a minute ago, it's not likely to just eject itself prior to the console opening. So it's more secure.
Sure. I mean, vehicles get smashed up all kinds of crazy.
Absolutely.
And there's, to some extent, there's nothing you can do short of literally bolting this to the frame.
Exactly.
But
so we want to
yeah,
do
the console
better
should
than
be
nothing.
pretty secure.
Exactly. And then that's the same idea of why this is in a Pelican case. So we've almost got stair step of response level. So your tourniquet right in front of you on the visor, that's first level, right? Then the Pelican case, then we're talking it's a harder surface. Chances of it actually getting damaged from the wreck is less. And your materials are going to be all in one spot. SOB kit we could have within arm's reach in the console. Bare fact we had attached to the headrest in some capacity. So it could be reached by another passenger maybe. We've got different levels of response, and ultimately, you've got to tinker with your own vehicle and your own way of life and see what works for you.
Yeah, I mean, with that simulated injury I had earlier with the compound fracture to my leg and the femoral bleed, there is no way my tubby ass could have reached anything underneath the seat without a brake.
Yep, exactly.
You know, let alone with a broken leg and smashed up and glass everywhere, and the vehicle dimensions aren't necessarily the same anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, it's totally possible that the items you had that were gonna be usable, just like the gun, are no longer usable. And back to your road rage concept, that gun, there's been a lot of incidents in the last 2 years with all the stuff going on in the world where that was exactly the hand somebody was dealt. Either they had protesters beating on their windshield, their window, their car, blocking their path, and what you've got near you in that car is what you've got.
Yeah. So walk us through some do's and don'ts. Where shouldn't I stage equipment and where should I stage equipment?
So I'm not a fan of putting any items whatsoever, gun, medical, anything under my seat. I just don't like the idea of getting to it. If the airbag deploys, I'm not getting there. And that could be from just bumping into a car. Sometimes it doesn't take much to have that airbag deploy. So that's a no-no for me. I also don't want it somewhere just lying around. So I don't set one just in the floorboard in the passenger seat sitting there. I want it to be more secured. I want it to be maybe in a compartment. SOB kit fits in a lot of places. It can go in your console in the center to where everybody can reach it for the most part. You can put it in your glove box. I also like still having items on me. My person, my pockets tend to retain things pretty well, but it's a trade-off. Because if I'm in a seated position, you've got to test your own way of dressing with those items to see are they even retrievable in that moment.
Right.
So secure it. Headrest is a favorite of mine because that's a fixed thing in the car and I can easily tell where to reach just based on where my head touches.
Yeah.
So reaching back, grabbing a kit there, it's really simple to do. Velcro is our friend in a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, if you need to get to one of these things and you need to do it quietly though, did you know that there's a trick
I didn't.
to open this without people hearing the Velcro?
No.
Okay, so basically what you do is you go like, ha!
You know, I didn't hear the Velcro as much. I got to give you that. Some guy was yelling though. I mean.
So don't leave it any places that are not physically secured.
Yeah, has to be attached to something or in a compartment.
Visor, center console, MOLLE straps around the headrest posts.
Yep. There's a lot of companies now making panels for the back of the seat that you can MOLLE things to. But, you know, again, the back of the seat's not as accessible to the headrest as compared
to... Well, for my own seat especially, maybe a little bit for the passenger seat. It was a lot easier for me to reach the back side of the passenger seat than the back side of my own seat. But it's not so much that you're trying to tell people exactly where you have to put your thing in your car who you've never met or seen.
And every vehicle's different.
But hopefully that gives you guys some things to think about. Yep. And it's given me a lot to think about. I've considered some of this stuff before, and some of it had just blown my mind. Like I know that you shouldn't have things that you depend on in places that are not secured, but honestly, I'd never even thought of putting a TQ on the visor. That's a great idea.
And it's simple, right? And it didn't disable the use of the visor. That's another thing. We don't want to necessarily interfere with any function of the car.
Well, I mean, I can't put my mascara on while I'm driving.
You know, I would say, though, that you probably shouldn't wear mascara or put it on while driving.
Well, if you put mascara on while you're driving, you might need a TQ.
But if you put mascara on, I might need some other things answered as far as questions I have.
Thank you for putting knowledge in my brain. Thank you for what you guys do. You are driven and motivated and focused and inspiring to me.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you to Durkin Tactical for making this whole series even possible.
Thank you.
I love you.